G. What's going
Hello.
on? How you
How you
doing, brother?
doing?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well, man. Little tired. I was just telling everybody we did like a team build next Saturday in Portland, man. So a little tired, but I'm blessed, man. So good to see you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, brother, man. So thank you for coming on. To no matter what, we gonna build community. And man, I know we were just chopping it up, but
Yeah, this is my first time ever being on live, man.
Okay, all right. It's just a regular conversation, man. Two
Okay,
brothers, two
okay.
brothers, two brothers talking. So, reading your bio and just learning a little bit, man. Man, you got a wild story. You got a lot of something happened to you that a lot of people don't come back from, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You took. I mean, to be frank, you took a gunshot to the head, man. And so
yeah.
when stuff like that happens, you always wonder like how did it get to that? You know what I mean? Why would somebody take somebody's life, man? Try to take somebody's life. So man,
Yeah.
what's your story, brother?
Well, I would like to say thank for everybody that is joined for as talking. Well, like I said, I'm not from New York. I'm from down south. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. You know, where
Yep.
Martin Luther King from. But I grew up. I grew up in the street life, you know what I'm saying? And it was very appealing to me. I didn't have a dad. So what I looked for as a role model was the drug dealers standing on the corners because everybody like worshiped them, and they had nice things. So I was like, that's who I want to be like. So I started selling drugs and I became this drug dealer of the neighborhood. And once I got in that position, I realized it wasn't all that I thought it would to be, because once I became this major drug dealer, I was like a target, the police, the jealous people, the robbers, the people, even the users, they was after me far as, cause I'm a drug dealer. So long story short, around the time like, I went to jail when I was like 13, and I got out when I was 16. I mean, not 16, 19. I went for a robbery. We committed a robbery. Like I said, I was in the lifestyle. I was doing a lot of burglaries and things like that. And by age 21, that's when like a lot of gangs start flooding our city. And I wasn't a part of a gang, but it was like the gangs would take it over. It was like you had to fight back, in your territories. Long story short, I got shot. Um, I went into a deep depression. Um, I went into a deep depression. The image that I created growing up, I had to tear it all down
Mm.
because now I'm at a point in my life that I need help. I need. I was lost. I turned to drugs, and once I turned to drugs, I became homeless. In that homelessness, I was in and out of jails, institutions, and things like that. And so once I realized that my life was at this age, at this time, I was probably like 24, 25. I started traveling. I realized that my life was standing on those corners all that time. I was lost. I never saw the world, so I started traveling. Once I started traveling, I began to see and learn different arts, different people, different. I just started seeing different things, and I
Yeah.
realized that I'm from this small city, and the world is big. So, long story short, I started going to big cities, and once I started going to big cities, I seen people doing things that I never thought of doing, like with art. When I was young, I used to do a lot of graffiti art. So when I went to travel to big cities, I seen people using their art in other areas, like writing books, doing murals on the walls. They was selling art on the corners and things like that. So, so I began to change, and in my changing, I began to realize that art was you can use art like therapy. You know, it's like therapy. You can use like all because when I was younger, I used my anger with fighting or with guns, you know, like shooting at people and things like that. So once I began to learn that I can channel my anger through my art, not just anger, any emotion, you know, that's when I somehow started to be able to control my emotions. You know, I didn't lash out or even like if I'm depressed or I'm not so much feeling it for a day, I create, I draw. And that will help me. That will help me get better. So and like I said, once I was around a lot of people, my like that had changed their lives. Some of them said, "Yeah, you should go back to school." And I was like, "Go back to school?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to go back to school because in my mind, I can't do it." You know, in my mind, because I didn't have a GED, none of that. I took out when I was in the 8th grade. You know,
Wow.
so they like go back to school, man. I said, I can't do that, man. I don't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather do something else. Long story short, I began to go to take these classes, GED classes, and I dropped out. I took the pre-GED test, and I didn't pass. So I left it alone. I'm gonna go do my own thing. And I got a phone call from the teacher about a month later. I didn't know it was her though. She told me, come back to school. I'm gonna show you how to take this test. So and she asked me why you drop out. I said because when they start timing me, I get nervous and I panic. So she was like, I'm gonna teach you how to take the test. So she told me, when you read the question, look at the multiple choice, not X out the ones you know ain't for sure the truth, and then answer with the next two the best way you know how. Long story short, you know the GD. I don't know what the GD test is up here, but down south it's like 7 hour test. So you got to take it twice. You got to take like 3.5 one day and come back.
Yep.
So
Yep.
long story short, I used this lady technique, and I went to school, started taking this GED test. 2 days went by, and it took 2 weeks for for you to get the results. So 2 weeks came, a phone call called me and said, "May I speak to Mr. Muhammad?" I said, "This him." She said, "You passed the test," and hung the phone. My mind told me she had the wrong Muhammad.
Wow.
Cause you understand what I'm saying? But I'm
Yeah.
talking about a person that come from the streets. I ain't believe her. So I called the number back, and the number, it was busy. So I got in my car and I drove down there to the school. And the woman printed it off, right? She printed the results. I started crying, man. Because where I come from. You see what I'm saying? Like the things that I had been through, my mind told me that I couldn't do it. So when I took that test and I was showing people that I passed it, they said, "You can go to college." I said, "College?" I said, how is that? You know, they said, "You college." So I went to try to enroll in a college. The first college, I forgot the name of the test, but I took it. It was like it was an upper class college where they said I wasn't, somehow they said I wasn't able to get into school. So it
Yeah.
discouraged me. So long story short, I enrolled in another college and they let me in. And I stayed there and I did the art. I learned how to use my art in other 8 ways. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and from there, man, like I said, I began to use my art. So in the school, once I got into college, I was able to start traveling doing mentoring with other people, right?
So
Mentor,
let me ask you a question real fast though, man, like that, because you had to start believing in yourself. You had to like change your mindset what was that process like for you to change your mindset where you could believe that you can do some stuff outside the street? What was that like?
Um, well, I'm gonna tell you, I seen people that I knew was in the street life.
Mm-hmm.
That was the proof. You see what I'm saying? They had changed. They was
Mm,
talking another language. You
mm,
see what I'm saying? They had went back to school and got it. But once I got my GED, oh, I knew it was on. Because when I used to, you understand? Because
yeah,
when
yeah.
I used to be in the street selling, I used to be on the block selling drugs, right? And I used to have people around me that was in college, and
Mm-hmm.
they was like, and they would drop out of school, and I'd be like, "No, man, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't come hang with me." I said, "Man, if I knew how to get to see, I didn't see that. That's see in my mind. See, one of the reasons why I dropped out when I was younger was because I didn't know how to read.
Mm,
You see what I'm saying? See, when I went to jail and did that time, cause see, I was a juvenile, but they had me in an adult prison where
mm,
we was in 20. It was 23-1, where you be
mm,
locked up 23 hours and you out 1 hour. So a book was like TV to me.
mm, mm.
You see what I'm saying? So I would read the book and I learned how to read. So long story short, so when I got that GED though, bro, it was like, cause that was like me saying one day I'm gonna go to the moon. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? But
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
know, you understand. So for me to get that GED, that was like, cause just know in my mind that was impossible. So
Yeah.
long story short, I started creating books. These are some of my. I don't know if you can see.
Oh yeah. All right. You graffiti.
These
Oh,
are
and comic books.
Yeah,
Yep.
like this is one of my books I recently published. This is like the story I just told you about the
Yeah.
juvenile, about the being incarcerated. It's a story about me and my experiences of being incarcerated.
Mm.
And because see, in the time we living in now, right, the youth, your youth feel like a lot of the youth rather go to jail than to go to school
Mm.
because it gives them like stripes.
Mm.
Like, you know, they
Yeah.
think it's cool because the rappers they brag about being incarcerated. So a
Mm.
lot of them think it's cool to go to prison, and it's not. You
Mm.
know, and that's what my books is telling you what it's like being in jail. Everybody don't go to jail and be all right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so long story short, like I said, that's what I'm doing now in life. I'm making like a lot of comic books of like these are the comic books. There's another. It's just a lot of my life and everybody that I ever met. I put their
Wow.
story in my books. And the story, the reason why I'm telling my story and everybody else's story, because I want it to be like a blueprint, right? I want like if the children, if the youth read it, or even if a parent read it, they know. Cause see, when I was young, like for instance, this book right here, this is my first book that I ever
Mm.
published, right?
Mm.
When I published this book, it's talking about when I first started walking to school, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why I learned everything. It wasn't, I learned more walking to school than I did in school. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because listen, I saw the prostitutes. I didn't know, like, I didn't know there was a prostitute. I was curious. Why she jumping in and out of a car? You
Mm-hmm.
see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So out of curiosity, like I seen little boys standing in the corner smoking a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
So see, my mama didn't teach me that. You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? She didn't. It wasn't that she didn't teach me. She didn't know that she's supposed to told me. You see what I'm saying? Because she
Mm-hmm.
was young. She was young herself. You
I
see what I'm
see.
saying?
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got a question?
No, yeah, no. If you have a question, so like your books, what do you hoping your books do? Like when a kid reads your book, And you talk about that blueprint. What do you hope they walk away from it with?
Well, like for instance, when I was younger, people told me not to do certain things, right?
Hmm.
And but I still had my own choices. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's like with the books though, the books are like cartoons, as where you can read, you can be aware. See, there's a
Hmm.
difference in being unaware
Hmm.
and being aware. Like, for instance, when I used to walk to school, right, I used to see needles on the ground.
Hmm.
I used to pick them up. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But
Yeah.
see, with the book will tell me what the needle is.
Hmm.
Why I shouldn't pick the needle up.
Yeah.
Or, for instance, I used to walk to school and me and my friends, we used to play in empty buildings, you
Hmm.
know, like empty houses and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So by me playing in empty houses, it's somebody in there homeless. You see what I'm saying? It's some people in there sleeping, or it's some people in there getting high. See, the book tell you, no, you can't, don't go in there. It may be somebody in there homeless, sleeping in there. Or you walk into school and you see a bag of drugs. See, it's certain things that a youth may not know what to do in that moment. So that's what the book do. It like if a kid, cause like for instance, like my mother didn't know that I'm walking to school and I see a bag of drugs on the ground. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Hmm.
like if I'm walking to school and if the youth and mainly the whole thing is when I was younger, I read books. I used to look at picture books because like I told you,
Hmm.
I couldn't read when I was little. So the
Yeah.
pictures, I was more interested in the cartoon. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So that's why I wanted to create, and plus it's a true story.
No
I
doubt.
want the
No.
youth, I
No.
want the youth to know that it's a true story, and this what can really happen if you choose to go down this road.
I love it, man. I know Maya Angelou's, if you know better, you do better, man. So I think that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
big and important piece, man. So like, what advice do you have for people that are working with youth, they're around youth? What advice do you have for them?
Well, well, I know, like for me, in the times we living in now, like right look wrong and wrong look right, and I just advise the youth, far as you know, find out who they really are. Because for a long time I chased after an identity that it wasn't my identity. You see what I'm
Mm.
saying? I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to be like everybody else. I was trying to be in the in crowd. Like now they call it the trend. The
Mm-hmm.
trend. Everybody do it. Like for instance, like see now we growing up now where the rappers are our heroes,
Mm.
and and I can't say that all the rappers are misleading the youth, but the music that is, if you like the youth, I just advise them to find out what they really want to be in life.
Mm-hmm.
Far as love themselves.
Yep.
'Cause- and And if they're around older adults, not even older adults, like sevens, they're 15 and they're around people like 20 years old, if they're sending them out doing, even if they're 17, if someone
Mm-hmm.
is influencing them to do something that's not healthy for them, they're not their friend. They need to choose their friends wisely because a lot of times you can be around people and they're using you. They're out to get from you. They're out to like when I was growing up. I I was the type that I wanted to prove myself, and that's what the youth do. They want a name for. They want to be known. Like even on social media, people want to be known. They want to have this certain reputation, and I just like I said, me being much older now, I just realized that I know that I need to have my own identity. My
Mm-hmm.
own. I got to get to know who I am. Not. if this person like this certain way. Because one thing I realized once I began to do work on the inside of myself, right? I realized a lot of things that I was doing, I didn't even like doing it. I just did it because
Yeah.
everybody else was doing it. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm gonna say this and we're gonna kind of wrap it up. You know, back in the late '90s when everybody was wearing those big clothes,
Yep.
like the hip hop way, the style, right? I wore 4X's and like pants. You, so listen what I'm saying. When I started to begin to change my life, right? When I went in the store, I didn't even know my normal size, shirt
Mm.
wise, pants, because I was trying to be. You understand? I was dressing like everyone else was dressing. The big
Mm-hmm.
clothes. I didn't even know my own size. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't wear no 4X, but for years I used to go in the store. You got 3 4X,
Mm.
but once I wear extra large.
Mm. Yeah.
Like you see, I'm a big dude. I ain't no
Uh,
little dude. I wear a large, extra large shirt. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is I was mimicking everybody else, not
Mm-hmm.
knowing. And another thing I had to get in tune with that my emotions. That
Mm-hmm.
don't let somebody tell you you can't feel.
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
cause see, growing up in the street life, right? You don't supposed to cry. Man, I'm supposed to cry. You
Mm.
don't let nobody see you hurting or whatever. But one thing I learned for me as I began to create and draw, that it's okay to get in tune with my emotions and
Mm.
learn how to deal with them. I had to learn how. That's another thing as far as the youth. I would like to just tell them, learn what emotions are. Learn. Don't just say I'm all right. I feel
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool. No, that what is your emotion? I feel good today. I feel inspired. I'm mad. I'm sad. It's
Mm.
okay. Because I
Mm-hmm.
had to learn those things because a lot of things I didn't know. I didn't know what it was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because in growing up where I come from and the type of family I grew up in, we didn't talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So all my emotions was stuff.
Yeah. 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 No, I love it, man.
Yeah.
Ash, man, I appreciate you, man. That identity and knowing your emotions, man. What it's all about. I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad you still with us, man. And I'm glad
Yeah.
you
Me too.
take it. Yeah. And I'm glad you're using what happened to you in your life to kind of inspire others and make sure kids don't go down the same path, man. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, man, for all you do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, man. Like I said, if you ever need me on any time, I'll come out or whatever. I don't mind sharing my story with the youth, bro. Like
I appreciate
that's just who I am, bro.
Definitely, man. No, this is a
All
down. This is
right.
not. This is the first time, man. We'll definitely connect again, man. We definitely will.
Okay. Okay.
All
No
right.
problem, man. All right.
All
Have a
right.
great day. Thanks
All
for
right. You
coming
too.
out, bro. All right.
Take care. Bye.
All right. Bye.